Wow. Bad news. As I reported, David Benavidez fight with Uzecategai, it's over, it's finished. Now we found out why and what Jose Uzecategai was on. He tested positive for a banned substance. No bueno. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Listen, I don't know how you found the video, but somehow you made it. Please help others arrive at the content. Throw a like on the video. It takes a few seconds. It's free, and it goes a long way. Reach one, teach one. Let's, pay it forward. And let's jump into it. Breaking news: Jose Uzecategai tested positive for performance-enhancing substance, EPO. So I made a video about it. You guys got to check the video, just really breaking the news. This one is more tailor-made to what he was on because the information wasn't available at the time. On October 27th, he's been pulled from the David Benavidez main event on Showtime. Now, the great Ego Stradamus strikes again. You guys see my tweet. This is from the 18th, so clearly 10 days ago, in which I said they did a Zoom call and I looked at Uzecategai's face looked puffy, and I said Uzecategai looks big still. He may miss weight or he's trying to come in heavier. Benavidez is finna chop him up, and I put the Ego Stradamus crystal ball. 10 days later, he tests positive for EPO, which is basically the same thing as EPO, very chemically, very similar. It's just like they have actual ecstasy and MDM, and then if you go to like some of the labs in China, they'll make a fake version, a synthetic version. That's basically the same thing. So a lot of people don't realize this, that people just pop these pills like MDM, ecstasy, and it's actually MDM is more rare, so it's harder to get your hands on pure MDM. So a lot of it is makeshift knockoff synthetic, which is even more dangerous because you don't know what people are putting in it to try to give you the same, feelings and whatever. From the story, so ESPN reported about it. I'll put the link in the description. Victor Conti spoke with ESPN. He says, quote, EPO is possibly the most powerful PED that can be used by a boxer. It increases oxygen uptake and utilization, which drastically improves stamina and your endurance. Some have described the benefits to making an athlete like a machine. Wow. So this is the stuff that Uzecategai had in his system. This is definitely not good for him. EPO is a synthetic version, which I just told you, of EPO, but it's identical to the structure of EPO. So basically the same component where they change a molecule or a piece of its DNA and call it something else, because technically it doesn't fit in line with the exact EPO. The world of synthetics, isn't it fun? Sources: Jose Uzecategai test positive, banned substance pulled from November 13th. I mean, Benavidez can't catch a break. He tested positive for EPO. We know EPO, the synthetic version of EPO, is identical in its structure and a powerful PED that increases oxygen. So EPO, what it does is it allows you to reproduce red blood cells, which that alone is going to give you a ton of benefits. And it's not naturally like this process could see. This is the thing, like anabolics and steroids and SARMs and all that. There's a lot of these things where it could be naturally produced in your body, but each person, based on your heredity, is going to have a certain amount of this whatever. And when you get on these drugs, these performance enhancing drugs, what happens is you get an insane boost. So it's just like, imagine if you had no energy and you went to Jamba Juice and they put something that's naturally occurring in your body and they just put some crazy compound in your Jamba Juice, and then now you're full of energy. So your body can produce that same type of energy. And that's what, in short, that's kind of what a lot of these PEDs do. They amplify things like TRT. The males, like people, produce testosterone, but when you get on like TRT therapy and stuff like that, you have high levels of testosterone that aren't naturally occurring in the body. And we know testosterone has all these supplied benefits, you know. EPO, same deal. It's unfair, it's cheating, and this is the lengths that people are going through to fight David Benavidez. We knew David Benavidez was a beast, but I mean, if you got to get on all this, and Victor Conti, who's been in that world, that Balco world of performance enhancing drugs and supplements, and testified and had a Fed case and all that, if he's saying that it's one of the most impactful or important, powerful drugs you can get on, then you already know what time it is. So it's sad, but this what happens. It's kind of like Deontay Wilder at heavyweight. Deontay Wilder, what does that say? Jamal Charlotte? I got a typo right there. You look at Deontay Wilder at the heavyweight division, and Deontay Wilder was such a menacing puncher, people didn't want to fight him fair. And you've seen that. There's many people. Luis Ortiz failed a drug test and got the November fight canceled. Povetkin, most notably, because Wilder traveled. He was going to fight Povetkin in Russia. And, you know, it's just sad. Boxing, listen, there's a way. I'm not even going to spend too much time because I don't like to waste my breath, but there's a way to get rid of PED usage, or not necessarily get rid of it in its entirety. But if you create more stringent protocols, then people will have no choice but to chill out, because if they get caught, the ramifications would be so. Is that Vampire in Brooklyn? Oh, that's a classic. The ramifications would be so steep. If you make the punishment like your first offense, you get banned for 5 years. Second offense, lifetime ban. If you got real aggressive like that, then people would either still do it and then take the huge risk and risk not having finances in the only sport that a lot of these boxers know, which is boxing. You know, a lot of these guys, they're not plumbers by trade, so they can just get into plumbing or become an electrician. So they need boxing. So if you make the punishment strict enough, then hey, this is the only craft you've never had. I know a lot of boxers, they've never had a job in their whole life. I've had several jobs in my life, right? But I know a lot of boxers, they've never done anything other than what they do, which is box. So imagine if you cheat and you attempt to cheat and you get caught and they take that away from you. That'll be pretty strict for a lot of people. Like, dang, you know, imagine that. I can't, like, even Canelo Alvarez, when Canelo Alvarez failed a test, imagine if he couldn't fight for 5 years. For Canelo, he was allowed to fight 6 months later. But even though Canelo made all that much money, this was before the DAZN deal, then Canelo would have had to sit out for 5 years. Like, if that's what the punishment was, 5 years, that would be hard even if you were a big celebrity, because, I mean, how many new endorsements are you going to get in new business ventures if the spot's hot for you because you just tested positive? So there's definitely a way to limit this, but apparently human life is not valued enough in the sport of boxing, and they don't really have strict enough things that are being done. Like, you can't stop somebody from cheating if that's what they're going to do. You know, it's like you see those intervention shows where a person is a heavy drinker or does drugs or hardcore drugs, coke, heroin, whatever. Their families are all crying, but the person has to want to kick the habit for them to stop. You know, no matter if the drug got a hold on you and the person hasn't made up their mind to stop, then they're probably going to keep doing it. So I could go on more, but it's just a waste of time because we know what it is. They let people off the hook. Like Uzecategai will probably be able to fight in the next year or so, you know, and that's uncanny for most sports where they don't have stricter, stringent punishments. So feel bad. You got to feel for David Benavidez. I don't know what Steven Espinoza and Showtime are going to do. This is the second time where this particular card has been compromised. The first time Benavidez tested positive. I don't know if he had been vaccinated or what his case was, but he tested positive with the Rona, pushed the card back. Now Uzecategai, as I told you, the great Igor Stradamus strikes again. He was looking big, and now we see and that's the thing. That's probably a strategy. Just like I said he's looking big, so maybe he's trying to come in heavier. So if you have the aid of an EPO or REPO or whatever the case is, then you definitely cheating, because you could stay big for longer, and because you're on EPO or REPO, you can lose weight a lot quicker and recover a lot faster. So maybe that was the game plan, to stay heavy and then shed a bunch of weight right before the fight. So either way, David Benavidez, his reputation grows as a monster, and people don't want to fight him clean. And I don't know what it is for Jose Uzecategai. It's a bad look. Showtime moved on without him. They don't care about the B sample because they probably know what it is. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. That is the news, and I'm out.